They called him the Quiet One. On every transport ship that stopped at the border stations, there was always someone who spoke little, walked alone, and blended into the crowd. On this journey, it happened to be a young man wearing worn clothes and carrying an old case with metal corners. He did not look impressive. He did not look strong or important. Many passengers judged him at first glance and looked away as if he did not belong in the advanced halls of the station. His name was Leon. He came from a small colony far from the main roots of the Union. The colony had little technology and no grand academies. Yet it had one thing no other world could match. It had a small circular hall built from stone and metal from long-forgotten ruins, where an old piano stood untouched by time. Leon had learned to play it from childhood. He had grown up listening to every note echo inside that lonely chamber. Though no one in his home world had ever seen a grand concert or heard a world-class composer, they cherished that single piano as if it were the voice of the colony itself. Leon loved it more than any machine or starship. He loved how a single key could change the feeling of an entire moment. He loved how a melody could travel farther than light when it reached another heart. He dreamed of one day becoming a musician who could stand before others and share the sound that had shaped his life. But dreams in the Union were not easy. Talent meant little without papers. Skill meant little without connections. Leon had none. All he had was the old case slung over his shoulder and the hope that somewhere, in the massive stations of the Union, someone would hear him play. When he arrived at Station Aurora Rim, the largest hub in that sector, he felt the weight of it. Towers of light reached the ceiling. Ships glided across air rails. Officers marched in neat lines. Screens flashed with announcements and competitions. It was here the Grand Talent Evaluation was held every cycle. The event allowed performers from any world to try their skills before judges from the Federation Arts Council. Winners gained grants, training, and a place among those whose music reached every world. Leon had come for that. He had no perfect clothes. He had no fine instrument. His piano was back home. All he had now was a travel board and his small portable synthesizer inside his case. It was old and scratched. It did not shine like the smooth instruments of those around him. When he walked toward the registration hall, several people glanced his way. Their faces told the same story. They saw his clothes before they saw him. They saw the case before they saw talent. They decided he was not worth their time. A group of performers near the entrance whispered to one another as he passed. One of them, wearing bright metallic fabric, spoke loud enough for others to hear. He said that the evaluation allowed anyone to enter now and that standards had fallen. The others laughed. Leon heard it. He kept walking because stopping would only slow him from reaching the hall dot inside the registration area. Things were not much different. People formed lines. Officials checked lists. Screens displayed segments of past performances. Leon approached one of the attendants. The attendant looked him up and down. His tone was polite but cold. He asked if Leon was in the correct place, because the event was for performers, not observers. Leon answered that he was here to register. The attendant paused before handing him a small tablet and directing him to wait near the far corner. The corner was near a storage hatch. No one else waited there. The main stage area was bright and crowded. All performers stood there except him. They laughed and warmed up their instruments. They compared costumes and polished equipment. Leon kept his eyes on the floor and held his case close. Time moved slowly. Names were called one by one. Music filled the hall. Some players were skillful. Others struggled. The judges rarely smiled. They were known for honesty. Leon respected that. He waited for his turn even as more people whispered and pointed at him. One woman near the stage whispered to her group that he must have come from a forgotten settlement where music was nothing more than a hobby. Another said he should not waste the judge's time. Leon did not answer. He knew silence could be a shield dot after many hours. His name flashed on the board. People turned because they hoped for someone impressive. When they saw him instead, they began to murmur. He walked to the stage slowly. His clothes looked worn beneath the bright lights. His case looked older than everything else in the hall. The judges exchanged a brief glance. The lead judge asked him in a neutral tone what he planned to perform. Leon answered that he would play an original piece called Heart of the Colony. The judges nodded. They expected a simple tune. The audience expected little. A few people already looked away. They assumed the performance would be forgettable. Leon placed his case on the floor and opened it. Inside lay the small synthesizer he had used since childhood when he practiced away from home. It did not look advanced. It did not shine. Yet it held the sound that lived in his heart. He placed it on the provided stand. He took a slow breath. He lifted his hands. The hall remained noisy with chatter. Leon pressed the first key. A single tone filled the room. It was soft but clear. It carried something honest. The hall quieted for a moment because the note felt different from the others. Leon pressed another key, then another. The melody began to rise. People near the stage stopped moving. They listened. The sound was simple at first. Then it grew deeper. Leon's fingers moved with calm strength. He did not rush. He let each note breathe. He shaped the rhythm like a story unfolding. The hall became still. Even the screens stopped switching images. Leon played the memory of his home, the wide sky above the colony, the old stone hall where the air echoed with every chord, and the long nights when he practiced alone while others slept. He played the dreams he had carried across light years. His music rose like a wave. It carried emotion that no device could measure. It silenced every doubt. People who had judged him earlier stared without blinking. The woman who whispered hurtful words lowered her head. The man with the metallic outfit felt his chest tighten. The officials near the entrance forgot their tasks and watched as if seeing a miracle. The hall became a place with one sound and one story. The judges leaned forward. Their faces changed. The lead judge kept his hands folded, but his eyes reflected surprise. The other judges exchanged silent looks. They knew they were witnessing something rare. Leon continued without hesitation. He reached the height of the melody. He shaped it with a gentle shift. The notes flowed into a quiet moment. They carried the calm of his colony evenings. They carried the hope that had kept him moving. When he reached the final chord, he held it with a steady hand. The sound lingered in the air with pure resonance. Then it faded. The hall did not move. It felt as if time paused in respect. Leon lowered his hands and stepped back. He did not look at the audience. He waited for the judges to speak. He knew he had given everything. The silence broke when a single person clapped. Then another. Then dozens. Then the entire hall. The sound rose and filled the space. It felt like thunder rolling through the station. Leon did not know what to do. He held his synthesizer close because it was the only thing that had never judged him. The lead judge stood and addressed the hall. He said that true talent did not require fancy clothes or expensive instruments. He said that skill came from the heart and that Leon had shown something rare. He announced that Leon would advance to the final stage of the evaluation. The other judges nodded in full agreement. The performers who judged him earlier approached him after the stage. Some offered apologies. Some said they had not expected such music. They admitted they had been wrong. Leon accepted their words with calm silence. He had never desired praise from them. He only wanted a chance to play. As he walked through the hall, an official from the Arts Council stopped him. The official offered him a special opportunity. Leon listened carefully. The official explained that the council ran a program on a distant world where musicians studied ancient instruments and composed new works for the Union. They wanted Leon to join the program. They said his music carried something unique and that the Union needed voices like his. Leon felt a weight lift from his heart. He had traveled far without knowing if anyone would listen. Now he had a path forward. He thanked the official with sincere words. He promised to work hard and honor the trust placed in him. When he left the hall, a few younger performers followed him. They asked how he learned to play like that. Leon told them about the small stone chamber back home. He told them that talent grew wherever someone cared enough to practice. He said that music did not belong to those with wealth or status. It belonged to anyone brave enough to express themselves. The younger performers listened quietly. They realized that greatness could come from any place in the Union. Leon's journey had shown them that. It had shown everyone that as he walked toward the boarding platforms, Leon looked out at the bright arcs of the station. Ships drifted across the sky. People moved with new energy. Some of them still talked about his performance. He held his case close. He felt a quiet joy, knowing that the melody of his home had traveled farther than he ever dreamed, that he boarded the transport heading toward the training world. The seat felt light beneath him. The ship lifted and moved into the sky. Through the window, he saw the endless stretch of stars. He felt the same calm he felt when playing his piano back home. His journey was only beginning. He closed his eyes and imagined the sound of the keys. He imagined composing new pieces that would echo across stations and worlds. He imagined meeting new players and learning their styles. He imagined a future where his music could reach people who had never heard a note from his colony. He knew there would be challenges. He knew not everyone would understand him. But he also knew something stronger. He knew that music could break any barrier. He knew that judgment based on clothes or appearance would never last against the power of a sincere melody. As the ship moved into the next sector, Leon felt a warm sense of purpose. He was no longer the quiet one in the corner. He was a musician who had stepped onto the path he always wished to walk. And somewhere across the stars, a hall full of listeners still remembered the way he made the world fall silent. For the first time, Leon felt ready for whatever came next. His hands, steady and strong, rested on the old case. It held the heart of his journey. It held the sound that changed everything. It held the truth that no one could ever judge by appearance alone. Again, and far behind him. In that grand station where doubts once echoed, people still talked about the young man in warm clothes whose music quieted the whole room.